Hi, I'm Norman A. Hood, financial advisor and host of the Exit Plan Show. I interview America's top advisors like today's guest, John Slater of Focus Investment Banking, to help business owners enjoy more personal freedom, grow their companies faster, and transition ownership seamlessly when the time comes. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
We're going to start out. Could you just tell our audience a little bit about your background and then your career path up until now?
I'm a native of Memphis and have practiced my professions since 1970. I started, got out of college in 70, went to law school, got professional training in law at University of Virginia, economics degree at Princeton, and for about 9 years, I practiced law here in Memphis. Finally concluded that I was more interested in building things and actually being an agent of change in the world. So I got into the investment banking business. I've always been interested in entrepreneurial business, growth of businesses. I helped start the Industrial Revenue Board here and played a role in downtown revitalization back in the 70s. Spent a little time at Morgan Keegan, which at that time was a major regional investment bank. I was the fifth guy in their corporate finance department. Of course, they've since sold out to Raymond James. And then in 1985 started my own company. It was called Asset Services, and we served middle market business owners, entrepreneurs typically who had started a business, and were at a point where either they needed to raise money or they were ready to exit for whatever reasons, and every situation is different. So there's no one time that makes sense for that. And so we spent actually about 20 years as a local or regional firm here in Memphis, dealt with clients all over the Mid-South, as well as some more far-flung. By 2005, the world had changed, and since what we do is basically take or given the trust of business owners of what in many cases is the most important thing in their lives. The fact that I was a bright guy who had a good smile sometimes wasn't enough. They wanted to know if they're going to trust their business to me and my company, that in fact I had backups. So we merged with a company in Washington, D.C. called Focus Investment Banking. Focus does the same thing I've done for a long time, which is middle market M&A and corporate finance transactions. I'm a partner in the firm. We're a national company headquartered in Washington with offices in Atlanta and Los Angeles, as well as satellite offices, of course, here in Memphis and Florida and Bend, Oregon. I never have figured out how those guys got to do that. They seem to have a little more pleasant environment than most. And actually seem to be doing pretty well out there. But we at Focus primarily help business owners with business sales. That's maybe 60% of our practice. Business acquisitions, buy-side work is another 20 or 30%, and then corporate finance, which is 20 or 30%. Again, depending on which year. And so exit planning and exits is a major part of our practice and the services that we're providing for business owners. I also personally head our corporate finance team, which we call the capital financing team. And there we tend to be assisting business owners who either have need for growth capital or capital for some other purpose, maybe buying out a partner. A lot of that is debt finance, which is very hot these days. There's a lot of new sources of debt that didn't used to be there in the past. So we help entrepreneurs locate that capital, sometimes equity capital, recapitalize, and I guess the other piece of my practice over the years, I've done a reasonable amount of what I call turnaround or distressed M&A, where we have companies that have had some financial issues and really need a guide to get them through tough times.
Right.
Maybe they're dealing with a bank that's threatening to foreclose or what have you. And what we found is that M&A can often serve as a superior exit in difficult situations to the other alternatives, which are bankruptcy and liquidation in many cases. So that one's sort of fun. It's highly stressful, and but once you accomplish it and save a couple hundred jobs at a particular business, it's incredibly
gratifying.
Incredibly rewarding. Yeah.
Okay. How do you think the people that know you the best would describe you personally?
Well, I think hopefully they would describe me as inquisitive. I'm very interested in the world at large and in a lot of different aspects of it. Engaged. I know they would. Hopefully they won't all say what one of my daughter's friends said. Boy, your father, he sure is serious. I'm not always serious, but I am. I'm intense, and I'm in a business where intensity is important. I mean, everything we're doing is critically important to our clients, and I think they expect that I'm going to give them that intensity and effort to accomplish the best results. So I'm not apologizing. Thing that I probably feel that I'm best at is synthesis. I can take a very complex situation and find all the parts and try to bring them down to an understandable story. And in our business, being able to tell a story is probably as effective a skill set, or as important a skill set as you can have, because we're dealing in a universe now where if I'm a private business owner, 30, 40, 50 million dollars in revenue, making $5 million a year, literally I've got not only strategic players that may be interested in me, and not only U.S. strategic players, but global strategic players, but I've also got hundreds, literally, of private equity firms that would have an interest in my business. If I can't tell that story in a sufficiently compelling and succinct way that all those disparate parties can understand it quickly, number one, I'll just lose a lot of interested parties, but number two, I'm not going to get as good a deal as I would if I can just cut through to the strengths that this business really has and explain that to them in a compelling way. So that's, and I think I'll credit my legal training for that. Law is a pretty good training ground for synthesizing a whole lot of facts and trying to come up with a way to look at the case. And I sort of view it that way. I don't view myself as an adversary. We're in a business where, unlike real estate, say, where do I pay the extra 10 grand or do I not? And there is a winner and a loser. Certainly price is important, but frankly, in selling a business, what's much more important is making sure there's a good fit for the parties, and that because these businesses do tend to be something that an entrepreneur has spent his or her whole life building. Making sure that the business ends up in good hands that are going to treat it right, and that the parties are able to get along going forward. In a truly adversary situation, that's not going to happen. So we view our role as bringing people together in a situation that clearly is going to have conflict. I mean, there's no question. Right. There are lots of issues that come up, and due diligence is things are going to be discovered in due diligence that the owner maybe wished he didn't have to tell about, and things like that. But still at the end of the day, you want everybody to be able to look at each other in the eye, and if not be friends, at least be good colleagues. Okay, great. Good interview. Thanks. That was John Slater. He's with Focus Investment Banking. For more information about John and his firm, please check out the show notes for this episode on our website.